Whenever we make peace with God, then we're going to not necessarily make everybody happy, but we're making the right person happy.
I will never say the hard thing because I just want everybody to be happy and I want there to be peace. But the reality is people discover the truth.
If that's my motivation, then I'm actually, that's a weak spot.
Welcome to Brewing Better Leaders, a podcast focused around building up and equipping leaders with the knowledge and skills to lead others in excellence. I'm Bill Montgomery, CEO of River Radio Ministries.
Great to be back with you. And I am with a good friend, Renee Vidor. Renee, thanks for coming on Brewing Better Leaders.
This is fun. I love it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, glad to do it. Renee, just quickly want to mention, she has done a lot of mentoring of young people, working right now specifically to mentor folks at the International Center for Creativity, the ICC. They deliver Cedarville's industrial design degree. And as well as she's an author, she's a mom, she's a wife, she's an entrepreneur doing all kind of things. So did I encapsulate that pretty well?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. That's great. Well, obviously, one of the things we're doing here and why I thought you would be great is we are talking about a lot of leadership traits, leadership characteristics that I just want to unpack with some of the leaders here in our community. And as you think about that, what's a leadership trait or characteristic that you have really seen or that is meaningful to you that maybe you're bringing out in some of the people that you work with?
One thing I've seen lacking at times is understanding one's identity. Because when a leader knows that they're a leader, sometimes they're trying to be somebody else. They're trying to be a leader that they've seen in the past or someone that they wish they could aspire to be instead of being who God really created them to be. And so one of the things that I instill in others and that I'm still continually working on in myself, because the truth is this is a journey. We're here discovering more of who we are in our authenticity because we're here for a lifetime, right?
Yes.
And if we ever actually achieve that, then we're home. We're gone. So therefore, we keep working at it. And I think learning who you really are and who God created you to be is the greatest leadership skill that you can achieve.
Why do you think identity is so hard for us? Because I agree with you 100%. Yeah, it's like, do we have a 3-hour podcast?
There are so many things that are pulling at us. Everything from worth. We want to be worthy. We want to make sure that we're pleasing people. And then there's others who want to have a status. They want to acquire. They want to achieve. We're all designed differently.
Yeah.
And I think there are so many different things. It's going to be different for each person.
Yeah.
On whether they are actually even wanting to learn who they are. Sometimes it's scary. There were things about myself that I never would have wanted to step into. But because of going through that process, I'm like, all right, I'm either going to choose to lean into who God created me to be and become that leader, or I'm going to push it aside and just stay who I am and stay stagnant. And that's a choice that we have to choose each individually. Yeah,
that makes a ton of sense. I know one thing that I've heard people will use as a way that they struggle with identity. And I think especially as you are developing into the leader that you're becoming is imposter syndrome. Do you see a lot of that?
Absolutely. I was just looking at a stat the other day and it says that at least 70% of people struggle with imposter syndrome. The other 30%, they must be like subhuman because I don't superhuman. I don't even know.
Yeah. And maybe you can even, for those that maybe haven't heard that term, unpack that a little bit. I know you know certainly what that is. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, imposter syndrome. When it comes down to understanding that I may not, how do you say this? I may be sitting here right now and I know what I'm supposed to say, but I might think, who am I to deliver this message? Or do I actually have the knowledge? Or I might be just stuttering for the moment and thinking, man, I'm not good enough. I need to just go. I am not who everyone thinks I am.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like an imposter in your own skin. And it's a scary thing. And it's something that most people do experience, whether you're a teacher and you're up in front of students thinking, oh my gosh, how did I get here? Or you're a mom and thinking, am I really worthy of taking care of this child that I don't even know how to control?
Yeah.
Or if you're a leader and as a CEO and you are leading 1 million people and thinking, okay, everything is hinging on me. Who am I to lead? I don't know if I can do it. So imposter syndrome is something that most people experience in some capacity in their lifetime.
That makes sense. Hey, you. Yes, you. That's who I'm talking to. When is the last time you thanked that coworker, that assistant, that parent, that teacher, that mentor, that person that changed the trajectory of your career, or that person that helps you get things done every day, the one that has saved you? Maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's one of your kids, but you need to say thank you. Well, give them a gift that they not only deserve, but a gift that they are going to love, and that is from my friends, Dolce Sweets. Their espresso chocolate, my personal favorite here at Brewing Better Leaders, but they have chocolate, they've got amazing, amazing gifts. You are going to be pleased, and more importantly, the person that you get the gift for is going to know that you care about them because you got a gift from Dolce Sweets. And for my viewers, my listeners, 15% off when you use the code BREW. 15% off, use the code BREW at Dolce Sweets, DULCI. I promise you, they will be thrilled. You can thank me later. Thinking about identity, what are some ways that you have found, especially as you're doing some mentoring and especially mentoring of young leaders, and again, whether that's as a mom, whether that's as a mentor at something like the ICC, and I know you speak to other groups, what are some ways that you have helped people maybe discover their identity and then lean into who they are discovering that they are?
There are several different tools that one can use. You don't have to use any of these tools. But I think that personality typing, and I know I was listening to Kathy Cairo's podcast.
Yes.
Had her on. She's an awesome leader.
She is.
And she was talking about Enneagram. That's one that I dove into quite often because I find it to resonate with myself. Some people use DISC or Myers-Briggs.
Yeah.
But all these different things are something you can start to scratch the surface of. And then to go deeper, really working with somebody that is a truth teller, someone in your life that will tell you, you know, you're faking it right now. You're performing. And that's something that is crucial, because if we don't have someone who we can be real with, that is going to uncover the secret things in our lives that we are able to see, then that's no assessment, no seminar that you go to is going to be able to scratch that surface. So I think it's really important to have truth tellers in your life.
If you recognize maybe you don't have a truth teller, where do you go to find somebody like that?
I don't know.
That's fair.
I don't know that he would necessarily just be able to say, okay, I'm going to go to the Yellow Pages or Google and say, I need a truth teller.
Yeah.
But I do think that in your everyday life, God is winning out people. And if you ask him and you pray about it, he's going to reveal something to you. Most of the time, it's something organic. There are other times where I've gone to look for a mentor, and I have had someone point it out to me. And I'm like, okay, let me look at this person a little bit more. Is this someone who has my values? Is this someone who is further than I am? Doesn't have to be age.
Yeah.
Further than I am and where I want to be in life. It could be as a parent. You know, I was a young mom. Therefore, I have more experience than some people who may be older than myself because I've parented longer in that area.
Yeah.
Spiritually as well. And then also professionally. You want to look at the area that you really want to grow in, especially. And look for somebody who is of the same values, who is going to be a truth teller, and who you are giving permission to step into your life in that way.
And I would imagine giving that person permission is one of those keys where you're willing to hear, you know, different things or hard things, or, you know, and go, I've got to get better. I've got to improve. I've got to grow.
Yes, absolutely. The permission is important. And that's one thing, whether I'm mentoring a student or somebody who is further along in their life, asking, even as a mentor, and asking someone, are you okay if I share something with you that might be hard right now? Because they may not be at a point in life where they want to hear it. And I think that's an important key part for leaders, is to really look at who you are leading in that moment. And are they ready to receive your leadership? If they're at a point where they're not ready to receive your leadership, then you're going to come across as a dictator or as someone who doesn't care about them, when that's not the truth. So even assessing my own identity, I need to know, what are my motives? How do I want to come across to somebody? I want to make sure that I am leading from a space that's not just about myself, but it's about the best for who I'm leading.
Well, I I love that you said that because, thinking about it from the mentee perspective is one thing, but thinking about it from the mentor perspective, if I'm leading somebody and they're not ready to hear a hard thing, I might do more harm than good in that moment because I need to step them, more gradually, and really begin to see when can they handle this.
I think of Moses often because, oh my gosh, he's standing at this burning bush, right? And he's before God who's taken off his shoes and he's basically surrendering to him in some way, shape, or form. And yet God says, I want you to go lead my people. And he wasn't ready to hear this leadership. Like, he's like, me go lead the same people that I was a part of for so long. They're not even going to look at me. I have a stuttering problem. I have all this. And God was so gracious. He didn't say, yes, you are. He said, tell you what, here's Aaron. He gave him a comfort blanket. He allowed for him to be where he was in the moment. He didn't force him into growth. He allowed for him to discover his identity through time instead of just forcing it upon him. And I think that's really important for us to look at that example of even God, of how he leads us.
I love that you kind of went into that because I think we see so many biblical examples of, number one, people that we think are great leaders that had the imposter syndrome. He clearly is like, who am I? I'm not the guy, to be doing this. And I really feel like the vast majority of people that God called were like, I'm not the man, I'm not the woman, I'm not the person that you want to do this, which I think then can be really good for us to look and go, yeah, I may not be all of that, but with God, I can be exactly who I need to be in that space. I'm guessing, just as that came so naturally, you spend a lot of time maybe unpacking that for folks.
For myself,
Yeah.
if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I had someone who sat down with me many, many years ago when I was really struggling, going through hard times, and I did not see myself as a leader. I saw myself in a spot of brokenness because of things that had happened in my life. And when she sat down with me, and over time, maybe she's a little bit rough, to be honest. And maybe that's where I learned some of this.
Yes.
Ease in a little bit because I just wanted to hit her over the head. But when she shared with me, Renee, you're performing, you're people pleasing, you're trying to do life for other people instead of for God. That really hit me hard. And so I've had to go in deep and really figure out, what does this look like for me? What does my identity look like? So then as I'm walking through it with other people, there's not a specific formula. I started with saying, the different assessments I think are good to scratch the surface. Yeah. But really it is walking that journey with the Lord. And he's the one who created us. He gave us this identity. So therefore going through his word, going through other people who are strong in relationship with him that can help seeing things in me, that has been pinnacle on me discovering further and further my identity.
I'd love to unpack, because I think it's a key, for some of us that do this, and maybe we can look at me like people pleasing, you talk about that and I'm like, oh man, I'm resonating with that so much. And I feel like sometimes as a leader, you want people to like you, which leans more into the people pleasing. I realize some people, that's not a challenge for them. They're not wired in that way. But if you are, what are some ways you can begin to go, okay, I'm doing this just because I'm performing, just because I'm trying to get people to like me, versus, no, it's okay. It's okay to, please people some of the time, but some of the times I need to step back and go, maybe this isn't the best, course of action.
That's a really good question. One that even more recently, I feel like I'm starting to understand more. I do not have it all together, as you know. You all know nobody is perfect. But that being said, there was a situation recently that I was working with somebody where they typically are in their soul a people pleaser. That's more of the weakness that they struggle with. Yeah. And I do believe that it's not that God made someone to be a people pleaser, but there are weaknesses and strengths that we all have. So when we discover that that is a weakness, then we call it what it is, and we work to grow in that area to get stronger and to notice when the enemy's going to tap away, right? So we're not doing that. So with this person specifically, I was recognizing, how do I share with her that she's people pleasing? Because it doesn't sound like a bad thing, right? Like, I want people to be happy. As a leader, we want people to like us. So something that God gave me specifically was the motivation behind it. We've probably heard the difference between being a people pleaser or a peacekeeper and a peacemaker.
Yes.
So, and just for the audience, if you are a peacemaker, that means that you are actually making peace instead of keeping peace. Peacekeeping is going to be more of the people pleasing. It's something that we don't like keep the peace. We want to make peace. And this is what I believe God gave me for this individual. When we are peacekeeping or people pleasing, that's going to be outward focus. And the motivation is going to be about other people and about situations. But when we are peacemaking and we are people please, or instead of people pleasing, we're God pleasing, then we're going to be focused on Him and making peace with Him. Whenever we make peace with God, then we're going to not necessarily make everybody happy, but we're making the right person happy. And therefore, we don't have to worry about the outcome. If someone isn't happy with that situation, we know that we've done the right thing. But if we are peacekeeping and we're trying, I'm like, hey, Bill, I want to make sure that you are really happy about this podcast and that I do everything right. If that's my motivation, then I'm actually, that's a weak spot. And I need to make sure that I'm making the Lord happy. And ultimately, that's all that really matters.
I love that distinction. I don't know that I've ever heard that described quite that way, but I see that in, just some people in my life that are peacekeepers. And it's like, I will never say the hard thing because I just want everybody to be happy and I want there to be peace. But the reality is people discover the truth and then they end up unhappy or they're blind to the truth. And so they can never grow. They can never understand. And it ends up, I think, harming them. Where peacemaking may mean we've got to have some hard conversations here initially, but you know what? We're all going to be pleasing God at the end.
Exactly.
I'm going to be doing that. You're going to be doing that. And it is going to be of greater benefit and greater character development. So, wow. I'm going to write that down at the end of this.
I know what's interesting is it was Enneagram, going and learning more and being coached through the Enneagram process and learning more about how God created me because I am actually at the core more of a people pleaser.
Yes.
And I call myself a recovering people pleaser.
Yeah, there you go.
I want to make sure that I am choosing not to just please people, but to please the Lord.
As we're winding kind of down on our conversation here, any other thoughts on identity that you think are important that maybe we have not touched on or areas that, would be great to bring up as it relates to that?
One thing that is difficult for many people when it comes to identity is being vulnerable enough. So I would challenge for anybody, whether you see yourself as a leader or not, make sure that you are choosing to step into the discomfort. Because it's never going to be comfortable to learn who you are. In fact, when you look at different personality types, there's only one personality type that really loves who they are. And they're great. I mean, everybody's great, right? We need all people.
Yes.
But that is going to be more the challenger. And if that means all other people, and that's only, a small percentage of people, then most of us are not comfortable with learning more about ourselves. So take those little steps of discomfort and step in, press in, find your people that you can trust and be in a safe place with.
Yeah.
And if you're uncomfortable with that, it's okay. I want you to know it's okay. Even as a leader, you might already be the CDO and you're already leading people and you're doing great things. That being said, you can still continue to grow and it's not going to be comfortable and it's not necessarily going to be pretty.
Yeah. And I would imagine as you've reached higher and higher levels of positional leadership, almost having to admit that I still need to grow might feel more uncomfortable than somebody that's a younger leader. And there's almost that expectation that you're going to be growing. But when you have reached the top and go, I still need to grow a lot more, that's where a lot of discomfort comes in.
And that's actually the kind of person I want to follow.
Yeah.
Because that attracts, whether you're a follower in that position or as you are a leader in another position, you are attracted to those who are vulnerable and who are willing to admit that they have room to grow.
Yeah. Well, because the reality of it is, in almost any relationship, we are a leader or a follower. So, you might be at the younger end or the nearer end, but there's still people looking at you. You still can be leading. And when you're at the top, you still can follow. You can have mutual accountability with the people that you work with. You can still be looking to grow, all of those things, which I think is really important. Yeah.
It really helps.
Yes. You're certainly going to be in a better position of leadership if you have that mindset. And
wise counsel is
perspective. Yeah. Well, I love that. I'm so grateful for the insight that you brought today. If folks would want to maybe see some things that you've done, whether it's speaking, I know you're an author as well. Where can people learn a little bit more about you? Where's the best place to do that?
go to reneevidor.com or follow me on socials at Renee Vidor in most places.
Fantastic. Well, we are grateful for your time here on Brewing Better Leaders. Thanks so much for the conversation. Grateful for that, and so thankful for all of you taking time to listen. If you could, on your on whether it's on YouTube or your favorite podcast app, subscribe. Give us a review. That certainly helps, and we would appreciate that. We want to say thank you to our sponsor of the podcast, Dolce Sweets, and the great work that they do. And we hope that you will continue with us on this journey of leadership as we continue to brew better leaders. Thank you.